بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Very good morning to all of you. On behalf of QRDI Council, I'm pleased here to welcome all of you today to our session, and thank you very much for being with us today. I'm Ali Al-Aboudi, alongside with my colleague Dr. Azza Abdel Menam. We will be hosting you today in our webinar. We're thrilled to have attendees from various institutions in Qatar, and we appreciate actually your time to be with us today. Today we'll explore exciting opportunities in three rapid research calls, focusing more or less on digital technologies and social sciences. We also have two more additional webinars scheduled for other QRDI open calls on Thursday tomorrow, 30th of Jan, and also next Monday, the 3rd of Feb. For our webinar today, whether you're new or familiar with QRDI application, our goal is to provide valuable information that will assist you in crafting your proposal and applying eventually. After the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session. So please feel free to submit your questions at any time during the webinar through the Q&A chat feature. It's going to be there available for you. Before we start, and also we have here our representative from the joint funders ready to answer inquiries related to their institutions. Before we start, a few housekeeping notes. The session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be shared with you after the event. If you experience any technical difficulties, please message us in the Q&A session chat box. For my colleague, the webinar co-hosts, please mute your microphone when speaking. We will not speaking to minimize the background noise. Without further ado, let's begin our information session on the three rapid research calls for today. So the three open calls, number one that we're going to discuss today, of course, is not the only three. We have other calls, but for today, we're going to discuss number one, modernizing charitable sector call, MCSC second call. We had a call last year. Number two, lifelong education call, LILAC first cycle. This is the first cycle, launched in this year with education above all. Pathway toward prosperity call, PTP. This is the second call. We had a call last year. Our agenda today. Overview and research priority areas. We'll go through the three calls, the overview and the research priorities areas for the three, the application process, the budget, the pre-award stage, and the timeline. Later, after the presentation, we're going to open the floor for Q&A, and we're going to answer to your question as much as we can. Yeah. Our first call today is modernizing charitable sector call, MCSC, its second cycle, launched by QRDI in partnership with the Regulatory Authority for Charitable Activities. It's called RACA. In Arabic, it's called هيئة التنظيم الأعمال الخيرية في قطر. The object of this call is to assess the capabilities of the charitable and humanitarian sector in the state of Qatar to develop them in a way conducive for implementations, and also activate and enhance participation of the charitable and humanitarian sector in achieving the Qatar National Vision 2030 and Sustainable Development Goals 2030 of the United Nations, as we are aware about. Support the confidence of the local and international community in Qatar's charity work. We have two research priority areas for this call. Number one, actually it was there last year. Number one is generative AI solutions and their application in the fields of charitable, humanitarian, and development sectors. This priority aims to understand the challenges and the opportunity facing the deployment of AI into the operation of charitable, humanitarian, and development works in Qatar. The strategy, the guideline, the recommendation needed to overcome challenges and realize opportunities also welcome. And also techniques for the best generative AI approaches to optimize the performance in the charitable and humanitarian and development fields, and how they can be deployed in the sectors are very welcome. This is, the first theme, and actually was there last year. The second one is is a new theme for this cycle. We added one more theme, creativity and novelty in fields of charitable, humanitarian, and developmental sectors. These priority areas aims to examine the creativity and the novel practices that can be applied in the context of humanitarian and developmental works, and how they can be integrated to achieve excellence in these fields in Qatar. So these are the two priority areas for our second call with RACA, Regulatory Authority for Charitable Activities. For RACA resources, the RACA has actually wealth of resources, and they are the applicants are encouraged to make use of RACA's resources in terms of data sets, expertise, etc., etc. And it's essential for the applicants to know that the utilization of RACA resources is an important evaluation criterion that thoroughly assessed during the review. So applicants need to provide description of the RACA resources and how they are going to use it in their proposals. To utilize the resources, a supporting letter from RACA should be uploaded in miscellaneous documents tab on the submission channel. RACA supporting letter should be signed as indicated in the template. For RACA supporting letter requests and other inquiries, please refer to the request for proposal. You will find the person in charge. I guess it's here is Dr. Lutf Muhammad, and his email is there also in the request for proposal. We'll move now to the second call. I'll give the floor to my colleague, Dr. Azza Abdel Manan, to walk you through this call. The floor is yours, Dr. Azza. Dr. Azza, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us in this interesting webinar, whereas Dr. Ali has said that we will be launching the 3 calls. And I will be presenting the lifelong education call, which is the first cycle that QRDI is launching. And this is in partnership with Education Above All, أو التعليم فوق الجميع. Next slide, Dr. Ali. Okay, we'll be talking about the objectives in the research priority areas. And in these objectives for this call, there are 4 main objectives that we would like to address, which is develop effective evidence-based policies that address challenges related to education transformation in the context of Qatar. And would also like to assess how Qatar's commitment to transforming education have been actualized over time. And at the same time, most importantly, is not only after developing the effective evidence-based policies, we want to also to advocate for those strategic efforts. So after we assess and after we see the evidence-based policies and the challenges related to this, we have to advocate for the strategic efforts to foster collaboration among the relevant parties to create a more inclusive and equitable education system. And we also promote an environment that is conducive to education excellence. Next slide, Dr. Ali. Yeah. There are 3 main priority areas that LILIC, or this call, that is addressing, and that we would like to have a priority on them. The first one is transforming education. What do we mean by transforming education? In this, we want to build a knowledge-based society, highlighting the importance of educational access, the accessibility to education, their effectiveness of education, and the quality of education. To do this, we need to study three main areas. The first one is the inclusive education. What do we mean by inclusive education? Inclusive education, it's understanding the conceptualization based on the legal and constitutional principle. Is everybody included in the system, in the educational system? It's not only the special needs, not the disability, but others, and their rights to inclusive education. Another aspect is the digital learning ecosystem, which is identifying and illustrating successful digital solutions and learning initiatives not limited to COVID-19 response. As you all know and aware of, during the COVID-19, the education has been transformed into a digital perspective and a digital learning ecosystem. So we want to identify successful digital solutions beyond the COVID experience. So how can that be done? Civil education and climate awareness, exploring the community responsive educational learning and climate awareness at academic institutions. Are they aware of the climate changes, the climate awareness? Are the institutions applying it? And educational climate awareness on that. This is what we mean by transforming education. Another priority area is the workforce development and economic resilience. And by workforce development, we want to aim to examine the challenges that stem from unique economic structure, demographic makeup, and ongoing diversification efforts under the Qatar National Vision 2030. Strategies for skill building and continuous professional development. The third priority area is to aim to study the monitoring, evaluation, and reporting, which are essential for the effective management, accountability, and continuous improvement. This process informs decisions, enhances quality, and ensures that educational initiatives have meaningful impacts on society. So three main priority areas that this call would like to address. Second slide, Dr. Ali, if you don't mind. So applicants are encouraged the EAA resources, or the education above all resources. In this call, we would love to, and of course, encourage the applicant to use the education above all resources in terms of their data sets, and expertise. It is essential for the applicant also to know that the utilization of the education above all resources is an important evaluation criteria that is thoroughly assessed during the review. So we would encourage all of you to use their educational resources, education above all resources, because this will help you also when during the evaluation process, it will be an essential criteria. The applicants also need to provide description of how you use these resources in your proposal. So this is an important aspect that we would like to highlight. A supporting letter from the education above all should also be uploaded in the miscellaneous documents tab on the submission channel. The education above all supporting letters should be signed as indicated in the template. And you will also have, if you have any requests, inquiries, you also can contact Ms. Salwa Al-Mannai at the relevant emails, as you can see on the screen. This is regarding the education above all call. I will move now to the pathway towards prosperity, which is the second cycle. The first cycle has been launched last year, and this is our second cycle. And in this call, I will also discuss the objectives and the priority areas. So the objectives of this call is to aim to provide research opportunities focused at developing implementable, new customized solution, policy guidelines, a strategy framework that support the country's journey towards the prosperity of future generations. Specifically, the call aims to facilitate the advancement to a thriving and competitive ecosystem in Qatar. We want to help to create a resilient and a sustainable sector, and to promote an environment which is conducive to prosperity and growth. Second slide, Dr. Ali, if you don't mind. There are certain priority areas which we would like to discuss. And the first one is enhancing Qatar global competitiveness in talent retention a survey-based study to uncover key challenges and opportunities. In this priority area, we want to aim to examine how to retain the skilled talent, which is a fundamental to Qatar economic growth, stability, aspiration for global competitiveness. And by retaining is by keeping them. How can we keep the skilled talent? And because Qatar faces significant challenges in retaining top talent, both domestically and in the face of international competition. So this priority area we want to see in this call, we want to see how we can use or how we can address this challenge of retaining the top talent. To do this, we want to have a comprehensive survey-based assessment to provide us with valuable insight into the factors behind Qatar's talent retention challenges by gathering input from skilled professionals in both the public and private sectors across the industry. The survey will reveal key insight into their experiences and motivation. From this comprehensive survey, the findings will support the development of targeted strategies, empowering policymakers, business leaders to foster an environment that improves the talent retention and strengthens Qatar global competitiveness. So this is the main priority area for this call, which is the how to retain the talent retention. Okay, application. Okay, we will discuss the application. So we have discussed the two calls, and the two calls are to be eligible for those calls, actually for the three calls, not only the previous two calls, for all the three calls, you have an eligibility of a lead principal investigator. This lead principal investigator must be affiliated to an approved submitting institution inside Qatar. So you have to be affiliated to an approved submitting institute, and you must also hold an approved terminal degree as defined in the list of terminal degrees at the link. Also, the lead PI can submit only one application in this cycle. Other research teams, members' eligibility, please refer to the personnel requirement document also available at the link, which is also stipulated in the documentary library. Eligibility of the submitting institution, all the academic, public, private, and other sectors, example, non-government organization, entities inside Qatar with QRDI approved research offices are eligible to apply to this call. So you have to have an approved research office where you can submit your application through the approved research office, eligible to apply to this call. Collaborative institutions are also encouraged, but you have to have at least one principal investigator from this collaborative institution. And as an update for these calls, we don't have a restriction in terms of the number of publication or the H index, because this is a rapid call, which is only for 6 months. Next slide, Dr. Ali. Then this is regarding the budget, which we will explain. As I said just right now, which is applicable only for 6 months, the call, and each award is equivalent to 150,000 riyal, which is equivalent to $41 US. And in the budget, you are not the ineligible component for the budget for this call, because it's only for 6 months. You're not allowed to add any travel cost or any indirect cost. And by any indirect cost, we mean operational cost or daily fixed operational cost that you would like to add. This is not eligible. The grant and effort allocation, it's 100% of the effort, and 100% of the total budget should be expended here inside Qatar. We would also encourage co-funding, and co-sharing is also encouraged. And also there is a policy for co-sharing and co-funding in the documentary library, in the document library in the website. I stop here, and I will, this is one last slide, which is the application type. There are two application types for these calls. There is a new, and then there is a resubmission. The MCSC, which is the charitable call, and prosperity and the path towards prosperity, they have two types of application. They have a new and a resubmission application. Because the resubmission application, by resubmission means that if you have submitted in the previous call and you have not passed, and you passed the screening, but you were not being awarded, then you are allowed to resubmit. And here there is a resubmission button where you can which allows you to resubmit. For the education above all, which is a lifelong education call, we only have one submission, which is new. So you'll only have a new applications. You'll only include your proposals in this new submission button. So the lead PI must select only new for newly submitted proposals. Any submitted proposals for the MCSS and the PTP, you can resubmit if it has passed screening. I now give the floor to Dr. Ali to continue the presentation. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Adel. Thank you very much. We'll continue working with the application. We're going to move to the pre-award phase. The pre-award phase is going to be described here in this, flow diagram. Started by proposal registration submission and vetting. This is, the institution kind of submitting institution phase. As we're going to see that, it's going to be ended on 13th of March, followed by screening, programmatic review, funding recommendation, and award announcement. This is, QRDI with the joint funders phases or works or steps by internal kind of timeline by the June-July 2025, the award will be announced from our side. The proposal submission, usually we register as usual in the common link of OSS-QGrants.org. All proposals are expected to be vetted by the submitting institutions to ensure compliance with the institutions and QRDI policies. The main sections of the proposal, standard, summary, research areas, institutions, personnel, research plan, budget, compliance, and IB. This is the main sections that you're gonna see in your submission window or platform. Reduced budget, research plan of 10 pages only. This is our kind of flexibility in these calls. Templates and policies available, of course, in QRDI portal. This is a section that you're gonna go through. Screening after you submit your proposal and vetted by the institution. A screening phase is going to start from QRDI and the joint funders based on the call. For example, for the MCSC, this is we have RACA with QRDI. They will work in the screening, and also the QRDI with education above all for LILAC, and then screening outcomes for the 3 calls will be announced before going to the review. Yeah, the programmatic review, here we have only one phase of review, which is called the programmatic review. It has 4 kind of criteria. The first one, scientific excellence. We have 5 levels: excellent, good, average, and satisfactory, and poor. This is 30%. The weight of this scientific excellence criteria is 30% of the grade. Implementation, 5 levels as well. Also, the weight is 30%. Resources, 20%, and valorization, 20%. The total is 100%. Ethical compliance is also assessed by expert as a part of the programmatic review. So updated evaluation criteria with respect to the weighted, mandated alignment, applicants' caliber, similarity, and budget are also there. Any proposal scored poor in any individual criterion will not be considered for funding process. No budget reduction. So whatever budget you're gonna stated in your proposal, we don't have the exercise of budget reduction and negotiation, but still if it's gonna be reviewed in the implementation kind of feasibility. No panel condition imposed. Panel will give only recommendation or observation. This is from our side. The awarding, we have 3 levels for awarding. A, the proposal level A, B, C. So based on the quality. A, the proposal was evaluated to be highly competitive. B, the proposal was evaluated to be moderately competitive. And C, the proposal was evaluated to be uncompetitive. Terms and conditions are there in the Mr. FA or master agreement between the two institutions, and based on the during the time of the launch. Notice of award also required to be signed from your side in case of get awarded, inshallah. For the timeline, of course, registering research offices and key investigators are always open in our channels. For the proposal submission and the RO vetting process, it is open since January 8th, 2025. The deadline for the proposal submission by the lead PI, March 5th, 2025. The deadline for the vetting from the research office, March 13, 2025. The announcement of the awards in June, July 2025, inshallah. Some hints from you that, to be aware about the concept of the RRC, because it's quite different than, the common grants that we used to have it in the past. RRC calls are important, perfectly aligned with the worldwide trend and Qatar's requirement. So because it's mainly aims to have faster pace to produce outcomes in a specific topic. So this is the whole concept of the RRC. We can see the competition is quite easy, as we have in RRCs higher success rates than other calls, which is kind of incentive for you to take it forward or to apply. The joint finder support letter. Somehow, some applicants, they are struggling with having a joint funder support letter. It is not a must. It is encouraged, but it's not a must. In its absence, investigators shouldn't be discouraged to submit. They are still eligible to submit with no issue. For further information, please, our website, our webpage, and QRDI portal. Each call had a specific page. You can go through it and you can see the document. Everything is also explained there. For questions and inquiries, please raise a ticket through our support system, support.qrdi.org. This is, you can apply for them. For any inquiry regarding using the joint funder resources, for example, please directly contact the relevant joint funder representative contact mentioned there in the request for proposal or request for application. Thank you very much for your being with us today. And we'll move right now to your question and the Q&A. We have quite a number of questions. We'll go through them one by one as much as we can. Yeah, so there is a question, I want to know what is the allowed limit of similarity in research plan. Last ERG cycle, one reviewer considered 23% as a concern in evaluation criteria. Yes, for the similarity, we have two types of similarity: internal similarities and external similarities. For internal similarity, it's going to be assessed by QRDI team with the joint funder internally. And this is, it's not really has a specific threshold or specific limit to label the proposal is passed or not passed or has plagiarism. It depends on the spots of the similarity. Where are they? Are they in the, for example, in the objectives? Are they in the research and the search management plan? Are they, for example, in the biographies of the speakers, of the applicants? So dependent on the location of the similarity spots, this is really affecting the decision of screening out. And of course, by all means, screening out dependent on is going to be open for appeal. So whoever got a screening notice or screening out notification, he or she has the right to appeal within a week to QRDI. The other part of the similarity is the external similarity. This is usually assessed by our external reviewers, so it's not really internal. Second question, can I submit a paper abstract for a research study that I am currently working on and analyzing, but not published yet? Lilac. Dr. Azza, if you can answer this.
Yes, Dr. Ali, thank you. Can I submit a paper abstract of a research study that I am currently working on and analyzing but not published yet? By research study, if I got you correctly, by a research abstract paper, it has to be a novel original, and it's not yet been done before. So this is something that you need to make sure of. It's not a published article. You've already said that it's not yet published, but you can develop it into a research proposal, and you can elaborate on it and you can also address if it addresses according to the priority areas of the call. So you have to refer back to the call and see if it addresses the objective of the call and the priority areas. But it has to be novel, and it has to be new, and not to be published before. So this is something that we would consider, and not being submitted previously in another research area.
Thank you.
So I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you. Another question: to qualify the lead PI investigator, would you need any scientist or medical doctor? Let me handle this. We have our eligibility criteria. The lead PI should be affiliated to a Qatari institution with approved research office in QRDI. So this is one thing, affiliation to an institution in Qatar with approved RO. The second thing, has a terminal degree. We have a list of terminal degrees in our system, so we can go through the degrees and see whatever you're eligible or not. So you can be. And by the way, the RO also, they are aware. They can also advise you. The research office can advise you that are eligible or not. I am a PhD student that got IRB approval and on candidacy. Can I apply for a last call discussed today with the lead PI being my advisor? I study in the USA, not Qatar, but Qatari. Okay, you are a PhD student. You can be with you have to be, of course, has a terminal degree before applying at the lead. But you can have another role other than the lead. So, for example, graduate students, research fellow, all this you can fit in, but it's not a lead for the proposal. I hope this answers your question. Please, can you elaborate what you meant by approved research office? Yeah, most of the institutions in Qatar and even hospitals, HMC, CEDRA, universities, are all of them, they have research office and they somehow got approved from QRDI over the last years. So this means approved. You can go through our portal and see how you can apply for a research office. The pathway, Dr. Azza, this is the question. The pathway to prosperity is only for 6 months. To conduct surveys, we need to get IRB approval, which might require 1 or 2 months. So we might left 4 months to collect data, analyze it, and write the report back. So we should submit our proposal to IRB before the grant is awarded?
I think that you can start the process of the IRB, but at the same time, you need to first know if your research is it's going to be granted or not. But you can you cannot start the application of the IRB unless you know. But at least you can initiate the papers and the application and then everything. But I have here with me, with us also here, Dr. Omar. Maybe if he would like to add more on this, Dr. Omar, if you want to add more on this question.
Thank you, Dr. Azza. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, look, this is a question that has come up on multiple occasions. Obviously, the goal of the rapid call is to be rapid. We are understanding that the approvals can take time, and that will be considered, and we are happy to work with the awarded research teams. If there is and I believe there's another question about this, if there's a need for an extension, we are happy to work with you and see what will provide the most successful solution.
Thank you. Let's move to another question. Can we write open access publishing fees in the budget for Pathway to Prosperity PTP? Can you handle this, Dr. Azza?
Yes. Can you please repeat the question?
Yes. Can we write open access the publication fees? He wants to report it in the budget items.
Yes, this can be, as long as it is not an operational indirect cost. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. PTP, the Pathway to Prosperity call appears to request a specific research methodologies survey for examining talent retention in Qatar. Can you confirm our understanding? This appears to be a rather constrained request with a very specific requirement. Thank you. The question is about, he's wondering, the call appears to be a rather constrained request with very specific requirement. If you can handle it, you or Dr.
Yeah, Dr. Azza, I can speak.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dr. Omar.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Look, there are some researchers, there are some calls which we send out with what you might call a more general set of requirements. As a researcher, it's quite foreign to have very detailed requirements such as this, but in the case of the PTP call, it is just as explained, the call is looking for a survey. Some might believe that this is a constraint, and some might believe that these are detailed instructions. So, though as the current situation is, we are looking for a survey and quantitative results.
Thank you, Dr. Omar. Yes. The calls require IRB approval or survey interviews normally strike. I guess this is the same question. Will QRDI allow extension for this case? This is a case by case, and better to be discussed later after awarding. There is a question here about, are the NRB calls this year a substitute for the ARG program, or are they complementary? Should we also expect a third cycle for ARG investigator-driven program in April time frame? It is not a replacing, it is not a substitution for the ARG. It is complementary, but the timeline for launching the new call, the third cycle of ARG, has not decided yet, and we'll let you we'll keep you updated about our calls ahead of time. Is there a maximum number? There is a question here, if you can handle it. Is there a maximum number of PIs? This is a generic question for all calls. Can you handle Dr. Omar?
Sorry, Victor, can you repeat the question?
Is there a maximum number of PIs, 4 PIs?
I don't actually know. Is there a maximum number? I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you, Noha.
Actually,
thank you, Malik.
I can
يعطيكم
add to
العافية
Dr. Omar.
for
This
this
is, a limited
comprehensive
budget.
presentation.
So, of course, we don't have a cap for BIs, but given the limited budget, I don't think, more than 2 or 3 is going to be feasible for such a budget. Anyway, let's move to another question, and I believe, Dr. Omar, you can handle it, if you don't mind. Could you please explain the valorization? Are you there?
He's
Yes,
muted.
sorry, I was looking at the microphone. I'm assuming that they're referring to the PTP call.
Valorization is general. I guess it's for all
Okay.
calls.
Yeah. So what we've been focusing on as of recent is our outcomes and what we are doing with the results. The dissemination, valorization, and all of that stuff is what we're really trying to get out of these rapid calls or out of these joint funder calls. The idea here is to make sure that we don't just come out with some research ideas. We're trying to come out with some practical, tangible, usable policies, frameworks for these research areas.
Thank you. Can we have a co-lead BI? This is also it's a question about the number of BIs. There is a BI. We don't have, I guess, the co-lead so far.
I don't have.
There is a question. Thank you very much for this informative. Can you please elaborate on the 10-page limitations? Would that be fine to have a copy of your presentation? Yeah, this is for me, I guess. Yeah, for the copy presentation, this session is now being recorded, and the link will be shared, of course, with you. So you will have access to the slides. No worries about this. For the 10 pages limit, this is for the research plan. The research plan is we make it very concise to have only maximum 10 pages, excluding the title page and the references. So 10 pages, I guess, without the references. Everything is also clear in the instruction, the template itself, the template that we given for the research plan. Will private universities be funded? Dr. Azza?
Yes, I think thank you, Dr. Ali. Yeah, it's all as it's been said in the presentation, private, NGOs, academic, any entity which is registered and has a valid research office is can have the can apply and submit. So there's no problem with that.
Thank you. As far as we know, only proposal classified as B eligible for resubmission. However, unawarded proposals from previous cycle may still be submitted, even they were rejected in a previous cycles. Actually, unless there is an instruction you received in the results of the previous cycle that you're not allowed to resubmit, you're allowed. So not awarded proposals from the last year are allowed and encouraged to resubmit while addressing whatever comments received from the last year review. So they are allowed, unless there is an instruction or kind of clear notification that you're not allowed. But usually they are allowed. The default is allowed.
Yeah.
Should the applicants have a PhD or master degrees? The lead PI should be Dr. Omar is handling terminal degrees only. Is there a maximum number of collaborating PIs? We have also responded to this in PTB. Thank you for the presentation insights provided. My question are, you mentioned it is encouraged to use EAA resources. What are the resources? Where do we find them? Also, it is mentioned that we need to get a supporting letter from Education Above All. How do we get that?
Okay.
Can I open the floor to our partners from Education Above All?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. Thank you, Dr. Hazma. We are very pleased to be part of this call. We hope that will be the first of many. My name is Leonardo Pinheiro, Executive Director for Strategy, Policy and Research. I'm here with my colleague, Mohammed Mubashir. To answer the question, depends on the priority area that will be aligned with the call, because here in Education Above All, we have different programs that are covering different areas. All the public information can be found in our website. We have a library in the website with our policy papers, research briefs, and the initial scope information is there. Also, people can have conversations with our technical staff from each of the programs, but again, align with the priority area. So for the priority of transforming education, we have work here in Qatar with the Together schools. It's a school dedicated for marginalized children that have not had access to education. We have the work of our innovation development team that is working on innovative solutions for access to education. And for the employment priority, I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but Silatech Foundation now is part of Education Above All. So the work of Silatech Foundation can also be a resource for the employment and the workforce development. I hope this answers the question.
There is kind of remark, clarification about who is responsible. If you can give us a email, it would be great.
Yes, so we have our focal point, Ms. Sawa Manai.
Salman Manai, okay.
Her details were in the presentation.
Yes.
We can also leave our details here in case someone wants to contact us directly. I will leave my details on the chat.
Great. So for Education Above All contacts, we have Ms. Salwa Al-Manai, and her email address is there in the presentation, and also there in the RFA request for application. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Leonardo. Thank you very much. Let's move to another question. Approved institution, there is kind of exclamation about, what's approved exclamation, what makes an institution approved so that it becomes eligible for participation. Actually, we don't have the term of approved institution. We don't have the right to approve or disapprove an institution. We have only institution with research office approved, with approved research offices. So whatever institution intended to work in research and have grants from QRDI needs to apply to QRDI and for vetting the research facilities. Some also documents about ethical compliance, about even money transfer and banking and financing and all this. It needs somehow to be fulfilled from the institution to have an approved research office. And most of the universities, as I mentioned, most of the hospitals, other ministries, by the way, all of them, they have their approved research office with us, and we're open to approve as much as the institution is qualified. There is another question. If you could please clarify, the lead PI can submit only one application on the cycle. Does that mean the lead PI can only be part of one application, or can be a PI in another different application? What different course? Yes, this is a good question. Yeah, as a lead only, he's allowed to apply in one call, one application. Of course, he can apply to other calls because this is a different call. Each call is counted by itself. So in a specific call, the lead cannot apply twice. Being a BI, this is no harm for this. This is not counted. Only the lead position that counted only once for a cycle, for a call. Okay. I hope that it answers your questions. For LILAC, for lifelong, I wanted to know if the curriculum development is in the scope, and if it is okay to show planning curriculum or our goals and delivering of a curriculum plan for our outcomes without necessity evaluating. It is this is rapid call which will not have time for such evaluations. I don't know if you can see the question, Dr. Azza.
Yeah, I can answer, and maybe our colleagues from education, above all, they can support me if I have missed anything on my answering. There are 3 sections in the curriculum in the call, which is the transforming education, which is the inclusive education and the digital learning ecosystem, and the civic education awareness, as I've already stated, and workforce development, economic resilience, and policy development reporting. It's true the curriculum is important, but you have to read carefully in the research for application the main research questions that we would like to answer. The curriculum might be a little bit, as you said, it might take some time, but those are the areas that we would like to cover. But if it is that you can apply it and you can implement it within the specified time of the 6 months, that will be great. Especially, for example, the curriculum for the inclusive education, for example, if we take the special needs. But I'd like to also to give the floor to my colleague, Dr. Leonardo. Maybe if he has specific areas that he wants to specify or to clarify, that will be great. Dr. Leonardo, the floor is yours. You're muted.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Azza. Yes, indeed, the curriculum that we are looking at is the one for the inclusivity, but also on the green skills and the climate in schools. So those are the 2 areas that we are most interested. And the reference of the work is through the ROTA program. They're doing green curriculum, mostly working outside of Qatar. That's why EAA resources are desirable, but are not mandatory, because at the end of the day is applying lessons from Qatar that we can take to the countries where we operate outside. So we want to create, one of our objectives to create this bridge, transfer knowledge from Qatar also to the practice on the ground in other countries. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Let's move to another question. Can those of us in Qatar work in collaboration with colleagues outside Qatar? Yeah, as we mentioned, 100% of the effort, 100% of the budget should be spent inside Qatar. So working with outside, with international collaborator, maybe is not the case here for such course. Can you please provide a sample of previously successful proposal for LILAC? Lifelong education, so we can learn from it before submitting our proposal. Actually, this is our first cycle with LILAC. I'm just replying in behalf of Dr. Azza, so we don't have previous proposals. Yes, okay. Can we submit a proposal under the education call to improve the lifelong learning experience of university engineering students? So the sample here is university engineering students, Dr. Azza.
Yeah, the sample is the university engineering students. This depends on your proposal, and it depends on the topic that you want to study and what does it mean, how are you going to improve the lifelong experience of the engineering students. And if you can see if it fits within the research question and the priority areas of the call, that's fine. But if it doesn't fit, I cannot judge on this proposal, on this question.
Okay. Thank you. Is it possible for international researchers to participate in applying research projects And with this regard to the invitation to preserve heritage, this is going to be discussed. Okay. For our call today, international collaboration is not allowed. As I mentioned, 100% of the effort and 100% of the budget should be spent inside Qatar. So international is not the case here. For other calls, please, I advise you to attend tomorrow's webinar. It's going to be on preserve heritage call, and you can ask questions there. They will be happy to answer you. What is the maximum number of people in this? We don't have maximum number of people, but given the budget, of course, you're going to decide by yourself. Are the research fellows eligible to be lead BIs projects for this type of QRDI? From our side, the eligibility is affiliation to institutions with approved research office and terminal degree. So it depends on this. Is going to be an internal kind of regulations with the RO. So for us, this is the only two things that we're keen about. There are questions related to MCSC, the charitable sector call. How do we know what type of resources data is available only? It's available there, sorry. Only one email address Dr. Lotf shared. By knowing this, there is no other link I found to explore RACA resources. Is it mandatory to utilize RACA resources? So the second question I'm going to ask you is not mandatory to use RACA, but it is recommended because this is going to be give you better chances to get awarded. For the first question, I hope my colleagues here from RACA, I wonder if they are around Nadia.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, we have Dr. Abdul Fattah.
Lutfi Ali.
Yeah, Dr. Lutfi, yeah. Are you there, Dr. Lutfi?
Dr. Ali, I looked in the participants. I don't see his name.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he already left.
Okay. From our experience with RACA, they are welcoming any kind of request for data, and they have kind of sectors for data because they have platforms and they have databases, and they are willing to approach them. So indeed, there is only one kind of email address, but they are already there with the staff, with the team to distribute the work and reply to you, so you can contact them. Can one be a lead BI in one project and a BI in another project? They're both submitting to? Yes. The condition of one application only as a lead. So you are allowed to be a lead BI in one proposal, sorry, and a BI or other role in other proposals. Can you please share the link of education above all resources mentioned in the session? Thanks. The contact person for education above all of there, Ms. Salwa, as we mentioned. And I don't know what kind of link is that.
They can refer. Sorry, Dr. Ali, if I can interfere. They can refer.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Also, again, they can refer to the research for application, where they will find all the contact information and if there are any links that is relevant to this call. As also Dr. Leonardo has already said, it's all the resources and everything is also in the Education Above All website.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Ali.
Thank you, Dr. Ali.
Will QRDI support with providing the contact person details of the local stakeholders? As usually, it was hard to get them involved. For our calls here, we have joint funders. If you mean joint funders, they have their official contact email mentioned in the request for application and also mentioned here in our presentation. so you can refer to them and contact them. So this is we can afford from QRDI side. Hello everyone, thanks for the great. Is there a process to facilitate external collaboration outside Qatar with other global South or North researchers? In the remit of the three calls that we're mentioning here, it's not allowed outside, or international collaboration is not allowed. But you can look for other calls that allow international collaborator to participate. I would always be invited to review. Peer reviewer would it like to be involved or collaborate on some projects, but not sure where to start. Reviewers, of course, whenever you become an applicant, you're gonna be, of course, not allowed to be used as a reviewer. So your reviewer hat is gonna be somehow deactivated. How can we obtain a letter from education above all? Is it mandatory? And if so, why is it required? Mandatory is not mandatory. Whatever support letter from our joint funder, education above all, RACA and others, it is not mandatory. And the contact person that focal point for each joint funder is mentioned in the request for proposal. So for education above all is Ms. Salwa Al-Mannai, and her email was mentioned there, was shown there in the request for proposal. Can you please let us know education above all resources? Again, another question if you want to add, Dr. Azza.
Yeah, I think it's also been answered. Thank you, Dr. Ali. It's also been answered that the resources, whatever that you have a question on regarding the resources that you want to, depending on your proposal and the topic that you are studying, you can always ask Dr. Ms. Salwa Mannai to give you the available resources according to the question that you're asking. So it depends. So this is how it works. So and I'm sure that education above all, they will be very supportive in providing available resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it okay to have two lead BIs, only one lead BI per proposal or per applications? Again, question to lifelong education. Can you elaborate on the expected deliverable from this project, particularly relevant to the area of policy development and reporting? The floor is yours, Dr. Ali.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ali. The expected deliverables from this is particularly in the area of policy development and reporting. As it's been stated, we wanted to see if there is if you manage to do any monitoring, evaluation, and that will be effective, and that will be accountable, and there will be that will generate continuous improvement. So this is what has been expected in terms of policy development and reporting. So any evaluations, how monitoring tools, evaluation reports, evaluation tools, etc., that will help in developing and in improving the area under study. I don't know, unless Dr. Leonardo, do you have a specific issue on terms of what is been expected as an outcome from the monitoring or the evaluation or a specific tool that you want to, or you're looking at, or it's a general issue as it's been stated in the call? If you want to elaborate.
Yeah, hi, Mubashir here. So I would just elaborate on the aspect with regards to how the reporting is done on the commitments that have been made internationally regarding inclusion. So what frameworks could improve the data culture in terms of reporting that? What efforts that have been made already in this are not reported or not consolidated? Like highlighting these aspects or highlighting these information would be the main idea to capture in this.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mubashir. Thank you, Dr. Ali.
Thank you. Actually, the session is we'll have a couple of questions because you know we're beyond the time, and we'll keep the other question to be reported to us in our support channel, if you don't mind. The limit of PIs. There are repeated questions. That's why I'm not, you know, I don't want to waste your time here. I have a question regarding the methodology. You mentioned a study based on a survey. I guess this is for PTB, Dr. Azza, which allows predefined methods. However, for other themes, is it the choice of the methodology left to the researcher based on the specific needs of their study? The floor is yours.
Yes, that's true. Because on this call, we are specifically looking at a survey-based study in order to see the views, to do interviews, etc., with the stakeholders or with the people, so that how we can retain the talented people in Qatar, and how can we improve on that. And that is why that's the essence and the priority of the call. It's a survey-based design and development, so that we can see how is their satisfaction level, how is their career progression, how is their retention challenges. So this is what has been that's the essence of the call. But maybe my colleague Dr. Omar, if you want to add more into this question, floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Azza. Yeah, not much to add. It is exactly what you said, that the PTP call is looking for something more quantitative and survey, but for the other two calls, it is exactly that, left to the researcher and their expertise.
There is a question in Arabic actually. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. لدي ملاحظتان. هل يمكنكم توفير ترجمة لغة عربية للاجتماعات القادمة؟ هل يمكن إجراء بحث باللغة العربية بالنسبة للمقيمين في قطر؟ The question here is asking about, you know, Arabic translation for our webinars, and also if there is an opportunity to apply in Arabic. For the answer, yes. For the second part about, you know, applying in Arabic language, yes, we allow Arabic language proposals. And by the way, for our RACA, the MCSC, we have a template for Arabic research plan. So you can write your proposal in Arabic and apply it to us in Arabic. For translation, about we can think about, you know, this is well taken point, and you know we'll take it forward to have Arabic translation, and we'll see how we can provide it in our future meetings. So الإجابة باللغة العربية نعم، يمكنك التقدم للأبحاث باللغة العربية، ولدينا نموذج للبحوث باللغة العربية على الموقع، فيمكنك ملء النموذج باللغة العربية والتقدم باللغة العربية، مش ضروري يكون بالإنجليزي. أما بخصوص الاجتماعات القادمة بتكون باللغة العربية، إن شاء الله هنعمل شيء يكون يحاول يعطي ترجمة باللغة العربية للغير، بحيث نوفر عدد أكبر من المستمعين يقدروا يفهموا اللغة بتاعتنا. Yeah, we'll take it forward إن شاء الله. Can we activate the award after obtaining the IRB? This is a good question. If awarded, and we can delay the starting date. We have the option of, you know, delaying the starting date. This is allowable, and within certain conditions, you can, based on the agreement, the Mr. FAO, the memorandum of agreement, we can find it what kind of delay limit that you can move your starting date. Can you give us advice on what resources are available at RACA and education above all? Is it freely available, and what is the expectation from QRDI? Education above all, we have mentioned, and we have several interventions from them. RACA, they are not here actually to some, but you know, from my understanding about RACA, they have kind of crew ready to answer the researchers and the applicants based on whatever needs that they are looking for. And we have our focal point for RACA there in the RFA, Mr. Dr. Lutf Al-Buadani. You can approach them and ask whatever you want. And, we're 10 minutes, so we have still questions. I believe we'll stop here, and we'll try to take this question to another kind of forum that we can reply to them. But feel free to contact us through the support channel, ask your question, and we'll come back to you for sure. No worries. Thank you very much. I appreciate your being with us today, and I hope our session here was useful and will help you to craft your proposal and apply to our 3 calls. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ad.